President Buhari to launch new Naira notes on Wednesday, November 23rd. The governor of Nigeria's central bank, Emefiele, has announced that President Buhari will launch the new Naira notes on the 23rd of November 2022. This is well ahead of the earlier scheduled date of December 15, 2022. The governor made this known in his briefing to the media at the Monetary Policy Communique held on November 22, 2022. Mr. Emefiele also insisted that there is no going back on the January 31st date of ensuring all old currencies lose their legal tender status. Mr. Emefiele also said he is relying on their law to put this policy forward. He also thanked Buhari for his support over the last 7.5 years and singled out the president's support for the new Naira policy, which he has backed twice in comments to the media. We thank Mr. President for the support we have received from him for over 7.5 years. We thank security agencies for working with us for monitoring the flows. We thank the Senate, who, besides the pressure, is also giving us support. We will not shift any deadline. It is in tandem with the law. We are no longer waiting till December 15. By the 23rd of November, President will unveil the new Naira notes and the Federal Executive Council chambers by 10 a.m. Today. So what is happening here is that President Buhari is going to unveil the new Naira notes by 10 a.m. Wednesday, 23rd of November 2022. And Emefiele is appreciating the president for all the support they got from him for the past 7.5 years. Again, in monitoring the flow of the Naira in the economy and in the nation, and all other support that the presidency has given the CBN. Again, he went further to also appreciate the National Assembly, comprising of the Senate and the House of Representatives, for their support they've given CBN as well for the past 7.5 years to do their job very well, apart from the pressure that are giving them to shift the deadline. Unfortunately, Emefiele is also saying here that there is no going back on the deadline, that they are not going to shift the deadline. In fact, it's even being brought forward now, that rather than sticking to that December 15 that was earlier mentioned for the unveiling of the new Naira note, it's now being brought forward to November 23rd to be done by the president. And that is also following the law, that they have a law guiding the CBN activities, and that is what they are following. So that is what Emefiele is saying. It means that there's no going back. They are ready to go. You know, this is coming at the heels of the whistleblowing that the Baja Biamila and other APC chieftains are trying to put pressure on Emefiele to shift the deadline. They have not given us the reason why they want the CBN to shift the deadline, but insinuations and observations shows that they have stashed so much cash with them, and they are now caught up with time. They don't know what to do with the huge cash they have kept somewhere now, I'm sure in their closet. Right? I'm sure in their closet, because we know that especially APC and PDP, they have stashed cash for vote buying, all right, towards the election. The Baja Biamila and his group were saying that the Emefiele should extend the deadline by 6 months. By 6 months from today will mean after the election, after the government had handed over. So it means that there's something they want to do with the money. It's not just probably to convert them to dollars to preserve their value. It is obviously for vote buying. They've all stashed cash everywhere for vote buying. All right? But unfortunately, Emefiele now is hitting them below belt. So they have to find what to do with the money now. All right? And they can't even bring it to the bank, because there's the amount you can bring to the bank to exchange at a time is limited. So you cannot go there and bring 500 million to come and change at once, or even if it's 10 million to come and change at once. It's not going to work. That is, I've given some deadlines, some limitations to the amount that can be brought at a time to change with the bank. All right? Because first of all, the new notes will not be so many to go around everybody everywhere. That's one. And then number two is also to limit that corruption, to not order to give a soft landing to the stolen cash that are stashed up somewhere now waiting to be spent. So now CBN is saying no going back. So what is Gbajabiamila going to do now? All right? Of course, he knows that his hands are tied. So the next thing is to probably repeat what happened in 1984 when this same Buhari and the Diagbon changed the Naira notes. And the weather was smooth because the military was in charge. If you do anyhow, you see anyhow, Koboko behind, you know. So nobody was able to talk because this is a democratic setting. That's why Gbajabiamila is coming down to talk, that they begging for extension of date and deadline. During that time, who are you to beg? Who are you going to beg in the first place? All right? It was the Diagbon that was behind everybody. So what we observed was that after the deadline and after, everything, people were bringing out cash from GP tanks, from sockaway pits, from inside the houses, setting on fire and burning them because they couldn't use them anymore. That is also going to repeat itself this time around. And that, from there, we started all over again to manage our currency. I'm sure on a free and fair note, this is a very good way to make the money, the too much cash in the hand of people, to become useless at once. All right? But also, on the political undertone behind the changing of money, we are still not fully aware. They are just talking about managing corruption. They are talking about managing corruption. They are talking about managing corruption. This government is laden with corruption so much like it had never happened anywhere else anywhere in the history of Nigeria, or any time in the history of Nigeria. All right? We've got some comments here. Launching of the new Naira note by the president is an absolute nonsense. Wow. So, but it's not substantiated. How is it an absolute nonsense? We need to understand. Number two, I expect that from a lunatic Igbo man like you. You see, there's a fight there now. All right? I think the president can actually launch anything if he's called to help in launching. It's just a ceremonial activity which anybody can grace anyway. So, again, Yoruba Nation, no going back. God bless Yoruba Nation. God bless Yoruba land. So we're talking about currency. Somebody is talking about Yoruba Nation here. Well, all agitators are looking for every avenue and every platform to continue to air their view and also air their demand. All right? So today now, being Wednesday, 23rd of November 2022, is when the unveiling of the Naira will take place. Let's see how it goes. All right? So now somebody is saying, nice one. It don't set for people who hide money. It's true now. It don't set for them. It's people like Gbajabiamila that is begging CBN to extend it for 6 months. And that obviously is after the election and handover. So they would have done what they wanted to do with the money they have stashed. All right? It don't set for them. They go spend their money for a side bedroom. Corruption in this country is too much. And I believe, too, that after the changing of the money and everything, they will burn those old ones that are useless, and then they will start all over again to accumulate fresh cash from the fresh notes. What a wasteful country. What a wasteful people serving a wasteful country. It's unfortunate. All right? Because even after Buhari and Diagbon changed money in 1984, at the same time, after burning the old ones that they couldn't change, they started stashing up new ones again. They started all over again from ground zero, and then to where we are now. And that is what is going to repeat itself. By the time they finish all this money changing process by January, you will see that the people will start stashing up fresh one again going forward, because they are in authority, they are empowered, they have access to the volume of cash. They will continue to stash them again. God will help all of us. But before God will help us, we need to vote right. We need to do what we're supposed to do. So thank you for listening. And that is the comment around unveiling of the new Naira note today.